Hi everyone, welcome to UTV Guna and our big man breakdown show with Nathan. Yes,
Good
bro.
man. Welcome
How
back.
are you?
I'm back.
Yeah, it's been a while, bro. How you been?
Yeah, good man, good. A lot of football going on. Feels weird with the World Cup thing breaking up the current season, especially when we're flying high. But yeah, it has been obviously good to, especially after watching the final. I think that made up for it. Do you know what I mean? I think apart from that, everyone was feeling a bit like, it depends what side. I think we're looking from a different side because Arsenal, I think if Arsenal were like 5th or 6th, we might have been happy for the break and then happy for the World Cup. So obviously I'm looking for my Arsenal fan where we're flying high at the moment. And yeah, it was a bit mad to have the break, but listen man, it is what it is.
Yeah, just before we go on to talk about our situation, just wanted to ask you your thoughts overall on the World Cup. What a final that was. Argentina
Yeah, listen,
winning.
I say to people, man, like, that's one of the finals that you'll look back in like 20 years time and be like, remember that final with Argentina and France? Like, yeah, it was a great final, great spectacle. It had everything you could want, like, and then it went to penalties. And a lot of people don't like penalties, but it had everything. It had ups, downs. At one point, I think at half time, France had a goal, a shot on goal. Do you know what I mean? That shows how much Argentina dominated, and that one flash goal, and it changed up everything. So it was, listen, it was it was one to watch, man. Like, even if you wanted to look away, as soon as something happened, it's just like when France turned it was back and forth, man. But for even just as because obviously you'll have people from around the world, yeah, that some of them don't even like watching football, but you don't have to be a football fan to watch that. That was just, yeah, thrilling, man.
Yeah, it was great entertainment. Yeah, so back to the Premier League season now for us. Next week, got West Ham, huge game. Before we talk about that though, let's just talk about the season so far. So we're 5 points clear, it's been a great start for us. Wanted to start with asking you, what was your favourite win for us so far?
It's hard to say a favourite win because there were so many games where we pulled together and we grinded out a lot of games, but I'd say probably the Chelsea game. And the reason why the Chelsea game is because I would say for me personally, like, that was the point where people started to believe a little bit and to be like, do you know what, this Arsenal team isn't like a joke. Do you know what I mean? It is someone to take seriously. I think before then it was like, when are we going to crumble? And hey, we could crumble after this, but I think that was the point where, like, people started to really look at us and say, wait a minute, this Arsenal team, you've got to take them seriously. And I think, yeah, the Chelsea game probably for me. I'm beating Chelsea anyway. But yeah, that was the turning point for me personally. There might have been other games for others where I just said, you know what, this team actually looks like, I actually felt like a warm feeling like for Arsenal, whereas before there was always that, oh, when is it, how long is this going to go on for? That was the point where I actually started to believe, like, you know what, we actually could put in a good challenge for a title, not just top 4.
Okay, so looking at our main rivals for that title, Man City, they have looked a little bit shaky in the last few games before the World Cup break. We saw they were struggling to beat Leicester 1-0 there. They're really lucky to beat Fulham with that late penalty. And then Brentford beat them, deservedly so, 2-1 that last game before the international break. So what's your thoughts on Man City and how they're looking?
Well, you've got to always look at it this way. Pep has had that time now to, because they did buy quite a few new players as well. He's got that time now to work with players and sort of get across his ideology across to them. So you never really could tell until it kicks off, but I think giving them that time now, and especially Pep, the ones that didn't go to the World Cup, Pep can work with them a little bit more. Same way Arsenal can work with their players as well, so it works across. But I feel teams like Liverpool are so far off, but just in terms of being able to get players back and be able to work with your players and sort of change their mindset and just get them fired up again, I feel Man City will definitely come. And Haaland's had the World Cup off, so he could come back all guns blazing, do you know what I mean? So I feel, yeah, it's definitely for them, but it's up to us as well to, like, we've had time as well, it's up to us to really come back and just be like, boom, let's hit the ground running, players are fresh and let's go again.
Okay, so let's talk about the injury situation then. So unfortunately, we know during the World Cup, Gabriel Jesus got injured. It's quite a major injury. He's required surgery. He's looking like he's going to be out for 3 months. There's a lot of talk of us going into the transfer window in January to another striker. What's your thoughts?
Of course, man. It's one of those injuries that could have happened in the Premiership game. So, like, it's annoying that it's happened, but what we just got to move on. What more can we do? Like, we did say, like, up front. I was saying at the time that we're pretty light up front anyway. I can't see us going out there and buying a striker. I can't see it, and I look at it and I say, who's to buy out there? Like, yeah, like there was talks of, because it's not about spending the money, it's the factor of who are you going to bring in. Yeah, we go out there and spend 70-80 mil on a striker that we wanted, but we weren't, like, it's still an if but a maybe on that striker, and we go spend 70, do a Pepe signing, yeah, not at the time, but that sort of money, then it's a lot of pressure for him to come in, hit the ground running and do that. So unless you're looking at the Juventus striker Volovic, then I can't really see anyone, and I can't see him leaving Juventus in the January transfer window. And that's the other thing, who's going to really lead their side, and who's their side's going to want to go. The only one that I would say I would love to test, just because he's ready to go in the Prem, is Ivan Toney from Brentford, yeah. And I'm not saying I do think he's an upgrade on Eddie Nketiah. He's proven he can score goals against big teams, against Man City. He gets goals. He's been doing it for seasons now. And I feel that if you're going to test anyone's resolve, I would test theirs. Who knows, man? He's English, so his price will be a little bit higher. But if you can get in between 30 to 40 million, and he can come in just for the Prem, score goals, and get us over the line until Jesus comes back, why not? And people are like, oh, what happens when Jesus comes back? Well, he's got competition, and that's what he needs. Like, so, yeah, I just feel that we do. But if we don't, I would like to honestly see, people talk about Eddie. Yes, Eddie obviously is our striker, and we've given him a big contract, and he's got, but that doesn't always work like, because you give him a contract to number 14 or whatever that he's going to deliver. Yeah, I would like to see Martinelli put up front. Smith Rowe's back now. He can occupy the left. They can always chop and change. People talking about false nine. All this false nine talk, yeah. Like, obviously we played it in that Europa Cup. I don't feel halfway through the season playing this false nine. I think it's just we're gonna fall flat on our face. I feel we just go with exactly what we've been doing. Play Martinelli up top. The left side, you could have a mixture of Smith Rowe. Eddie could even come in, and like we did in the summer where you had Jesus and Eddie swapping a lot. That could work as well. But I think let Martinelli and Eddie and Nketiah play up there and just battle it up. Martinelli up top could be the answer for us. Do you know what I mean? Who knows? We talk about him being a striker and eventually playing there. Now's the time to give it a go. He would be the risk that I'd want to take. I would have more comfort in having Martinelli up top than anything. But yeah.
Okay, so looking ahead now to the West Ham game, not sure
Tough
the situation, yeah, with terms of players coming back.
I want to see them all playing, and that's as simple as that, man. But let's hope, obviously, that we can just gel back up again, man. And I think Saliba is a big player that we need to have back in there. And just, he hasn't played a minute, so, well, he might play one game. But apart from that, he's who we needed at back. Seeing Holding and Gabriel in some of the warm-up games, it doesn't. I feel if we don't have a striker and we're going to be pushing games, maybe 2-0, 1-0 scrapes, we need our defence to be as solid as possible, man.
Okay, so West Ham, we know they're a dangerous team. It's a London derby. They've been good in recent seasons. They've been investing heavily in their team. What's your thoughts on them?
I don't fear West Ham at home, to be fair. I fear West Ham. Antonio always likes to turn up against us, and that's a fact. But I don't really fear them at home. I feel if we can make the Emirates a fortress like we have done, they're two big games for me, is the West Ham and Newcastle. Yeah, they're massive games. Like, yeah, the Brighton game away and things like that is also. Do you know what? Put Brighton in as well. Our next 3 games, yeah, are definitely bogey teams for us. The teams that, if we can get 9 points from those next 3 games, I feel we can sort of look and say, all right, do we need to spend in the do we need to spend in the transfer window? I believe we need to spend just to bring in a player. Yeah, so whether it's attacking winger or whatever, a goal scoring, whatever. I think we need just that little fresh player around the squad. It will just give you that nice little boost of quality, though. Don't just bring in, if they're not improving the squad, save that for the summertime. Yuri Tillemans, I feel he would improve us, but is he going to give us that boost we need in the thingy? Not really, because I feel Xhaka and Partey are doing a great job there anyway.
Okay, so we're at West Ham game. It's a great chance for us to get 8 points clear as Man City are playing a couple of days later. What's your correct score prediction?
Do you know what? I feel we blast them away. I reckon it'd be 4-1.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I honestly reckon it'd be 4-1. I think we're worried more about. I think there's other games to worry about. I reckon we're going to beat them 4-1, man. West Ham have actually got a very, very, very good team. If you actually look at their starting lineup, yeah, they've got Brazil internationals, Rice. They've got a good team there, man. But I just feel at the Emirates, if we can start the game at a fast pace, I reckon we can really get on top of West Ham and do them over, man.
Okay, yeah, we've got a great record here. We've won every game in the Premier League here this season, so let's hope we can continue that. Put the pressure on City. 8 points ahead of them. Talking of the title race now, so I was speaking to you earlier in the season. We were like, it's early days. Let's see how it goes. But we've had a really good sample size now. Where they're top. We're not just top, but we're 5 points clear of them.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the title situation?
I feel it's what we do in the January transfer window. I'm not saying we need to rush out there and get signings, but I feel if we want to really, if we're looking at not just top four now, we're looking at actually pushing to win. And I do believe you have to push to win the Premier League to finish top four anyway. Yeah, but I feel if we're going to really push for that, then yeah, I feel we need to get a couple signings, because you still got Europa, FA Cup, I believe, as well. Are we out of that? But I feel if we're going to push on those two fronts, we need to get a couple signings in. But if we don't, then yeah, I would say the Premiership. So I would say, ask me that end of, once the transfer window is closed, then I can say, I feel we'll finish top four, but not push for the Prem. But if we can get in some quality signings, then there's no reason why we can't, man.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you now, though. I'll ask you again in January. Give me your top four.
Obviously, Arsenal. I think, personally, Man City, Arsenal, I think we'll feel just short. We'll give them a good push. I feel Chelsea will be in there. And you know what? I would say the scumbag Spurs probably, but Newcastle could be in there as well. So I reckon it'll be, I think Newcastle will fall off. I reckon it'll be Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal and Man City.
Okay, and just wanted to ask you before we go, the situation with Cristiano Ronaldo. So we saw what happened with them towards the end of the break. The break before the game before the international break. What happened with them? And he had that interview with Piers Morgan, and they've now terminated his contract. What was your thoughts about that whole situation?
He's a money man. It's not about football anymore for him. It's business. This is business, like, yeah. Before it used to be the business of football, and now it's the business of money. So he's doing whatever he can. His PR team, his marketing team will be saying to him, look, this is what we got to do. I'm disappointed, yeah, because I feel you've tainted your legacy, do you know what I mean? But at the same time, your kids can't eat legacy, your kids' can't eat legacy, do you know what I mean? It's like, he's going for that generation, he's got generational wealth, but I think he wants just, I don't know what's going through his head, but one thing I do know is that for me personally, you've got enough money to keep going and going and going, and you still would. I feel you tainted your legacy, and shout out all those Man United fans that are like, yeah, I always said Messi was the GOAT. I said Messi was the GOAT. No, you didn't. Anyone that wasn't a Man United fan was saying Messi was the GOAT, yeah? Man United fans were the only ones that were like, oh yeah, well, Ronaldo, and have the debate. They were the only ones that were debating. Now Ronaldo said see you later. They're the ones that are like, oh yeah, Definitely is Messi the GOAT, like, so it's just, but it's disappointed, but still, man, you can still have the debate, you still can rate him up there as at least top 2, do you know what I mean, like, I'll say my top 3 of all time probably is those 2. I wasn't alive for Pele and Maradona to give that debate, but then other person probably be R9 or Ronaldinho, just because of what he's done and changed the game and brought to the game. But
okay, so looking forward to the action getting back underway, looking forward to seeing you at the West Ham game. Thanks for your time, bro. That's all from us. Please remember to subscribe, like and share.